Moving on to the next topic, Avatar, which we all love, the movie with the blue monkeys, has recently decided to exceed the number that they were currently at. They were at number 2. Marvel Endgame, had reached 2.792 billion with a B in revenue. A billion, yes, and then I remember because and to be fair, Marvel did do like an extended release to try and bolster their numbers to surpass Avatar. Well, Avatar wasn't going to wait for that. They're not going to let that lie. So Avatar decided to whip it out and go for a re-release in China. And we do know.
But I'm pretty sure this is the second re-release.
Yeah,
because I remember going, because like in 2009 is when the original one came out.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing it a couple years after that. So this is like a re-release.
And they did the same thing for Titanic, I think. They re-releasing it. So now Avatar has reclaimed the title at $2.8 billion in revenue. Now, Logan, what are your thoughts on this one-upsmanship, to be kind?
I mean, I understand the current climate we're in. Anybody is looking for anything to kind of, talk about or promote or do stuff. And there are still supposedly, 4 more sequels to this one hit being filmed, still, I guess. But I mean, to be honest, it's like this is... I mean, it's like a high school dick measuring contest. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it's just, you're going to creep forward, and then I have Avengers will release somewhere else, and then Avatar, like at some point, it's just going to get so annoying. It's probably, I would think it might even detract some from the brand of just kind of being like, oh, I don't want to hear about this garbage. Or maybe that's just me.
Well, to be fair, 2 things. One, it was garbage before this. And yes, we all know that it was basically Dances with Wolves in body paint. That's the story. And 2, you always measure from the base. Okay, Kenny, what was your thought? What was your thought on the Sea Monkeys taking over the Avengers?
So I don't dislike the movie. I actually really like the movie, but it's interesting that they're both properties that are owned by Disney.
Yeah.
So yes. Disney's fighting themselves for what?
Well, you know what? If you fight yourself, you're bound to win. That is, I think that was Nietzsche.
I guess
that said that.
So, yeah, I don't really pay attention or care much about like the box office numbers, so to speak, because I mean, I think it's either you like it or you don't. So,
true. But
I
again,
don't care if it does $1 billion in sales, cool. If it doesn't, if I still liked it, that's all I care about.
I mean, I think there are significant flaws the way they measure it too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay, so I remember back when it first came out, it was a big deal. It was in the news how it overtook. I think it was Titanic at the time. Because like Titanic was so much more ahead of any other movie. And then of course Avatar comes out, but with the 3D ticket prices being like several dollars more than the regular ticket price, like that automatically, it really isn't an apples to apples thing like then or now. Because I think Avengers did that as well. So it's like, yes, these are big production, huge movies, but at the same time, it's compared to something that just runs like a limited run in the US or something. It's like, honestly.
And then you even go back with, previous films, Casablanca or Gone with the Wind, or you're trying to then compare, money is a fluid kind of a thing. Inflation, exactly.
It's a huge
money's
difference.
A fluid moniker. So yeah, that's great, but it means nothing. And I think that's where some of the big flaws come in of what's a better way to measure it. Is it, really just, how many people, how many seats were filled? Is it how many, is it accounting for inflation? Is that what really matters? Like, everybody's going to try and pull whatever statistic they can to say, oh, well, we're the number one based on this. But if you're the number one movie that had Skittles sold in it, look, so what?
It should be who buys it afterwards, because that's like a nod to say, like, you really like this movie.
No, you're 100% right.
Sometimes that green light sequels, even when they don't do well in the theaters. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah, and you're 100% on that, Logan. Is based on, you and Brianna brought up an excellent point. Based on inflation, the monetary is ridiculous. It's a fluid marker. It should be number of tickets sold, not the amount of revenue generated.
Right.
And even that's fluid because there were more people around now than there were back in.
Right.
Sure.
More theaters, more people. Yeah, all that stuff.
Exactly. But again, to Logan's point, it is a metric based on phallic longitude.
Not to mention, like, I don't know how it was with Avatar, but I know for sure with comic book movies, you have fans that are going and seeing them multiple times,
several times.
Like I know a guy that watched it something like he watched Infinity War like 40 something times.
Yeah, Kenny, a friend.
So many times.
Oh my god.
No. He is a nerdy rapper guy. Goes by the name of Nem, N-E-M.
You're still not throwing me off the track, Kenny.
So but it was popular enough, and he was tweeting every time he went to see the movie that eventually the Russo brothers caught wind of it and gave him tickets to the premiere of Endgame.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do you count? Like, he went and saw it like 40 something times.
Sure.
So how does that fall into the overall count towards? And the movie did $1 billion.
Well, you paid to go, so I guess they figure.
And I would say the same thing is applicable to Star Wars. A lot of and I'm talking the 70s Star Wars. People were going multiple times because there were no VCRs and there was no TiVo and Hulu and all the wonderful made up names. All names are made up, by the way. That was proven by Thor. And it's definitely you'll have those cultural events where people, it's almost like being famous for being famous. This is the highest grossing film because it's the highest grossing film and everybody's like participating in it. I'm not taking anything away from the fact that Avatar was groundbreaking. It was, special effects on par with none.
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely.
It was the first movie that IMAX 3D was the actual way to see it. They used it so well. It was the first one that was actually worth it to me.
100%. And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just to add, I had to look him up right quick just to see. So he actually saw it more than I thought. He turned it into a Guinness World Record by seeing it 103 times in the theater.
The first Avengers movie?
Times. The Infinity War.
Infinity War. Wow.
103 times in the theater.
Right.
Interesting.
Got a Guinness World Record out of it.
That's
well, I have seen also where they had marathons and stuff like that. And again, Guinness Book of World Records making an event out of something. It's definitely that. But I'm gonna make a bet that most people haven't seen it that many times. It just for Avatar, it feels like I saw it 170 times. But again, I'm dumping on Avatar only because it's there's a lot of issues I had with it. But I like Logan said, it was the first movie of its kind using the technology of its day, and it was just, I think so much was thrown into the production that very little was given in regards to the story and the script. It was not an original story.
It wouldn't have done anywhere near as well if it wasn't 3D. Like, let's be honest. Like, that's why I went both times probably. It's like, it's so cool. Like, everyone sees it. It's 3D.
I never got to see it in theaters because I was prepping for deployment. I was prepping for deployment.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see it until it came out on Blu-ray. But luckily enough, the TV I had at the time, I had a 3D TV,
Nice.
and I was actually able to watch.
See the at-home 3D experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was the visuals are what made it.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, again, yeah. I mean, to this day, a lot of those visuals still hold up. I mean, it's again, it surpassed anything that had existed regarding CG, and their mocap game was just ridiculous. And again, I pointed this. We did an episode where we talked about Avatar, a couple of years ago, and again, a lot of their money went into the production, so much so that your star was Sam Worthington. The guy that they were trying to make a star, but he never really was. It was
I liked him though.
He's not there. He's fine, right? He is. I'm not saying he's bad, but you know what he always reminded me of, like the older brother of the kid from Friday Night Lights and Fast and the Furious 2, Tokyo Drift.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Lucas Black.
Yeah, Lucas Black.
Wow, there you go. Yeah,
I like Lucas Black. He's fantastic in what he does.
Was not bad, and I'm just saying the Sam Worthington to me looks like just an older version. Looks like they should play brothers. Quite frankly, that would be a movie.
There you
watch.
go.
And
there you go, Sam Worthington for Fast and Furious 10.
Yeah.
Look, we've got Dom's brother. We might as well throw some other brothers in. Why not?
Yeah, everybody's related. Nobody died.
Hey, there you go.
It's like a Marvel movie. It's pretty much like a Marvel movie. You're saying the universes are connected? Is that the wait a second?
That's the final tie-in.
Wait a second. My fingers in my ear. I think it's all connected. I think Fast and the Furious 8, Marvel Universe, Transformers, and G.I. Joe, it's all connected. You heard it here first. I think they're all part of the same universe. Anyway, yes, I think that Avatar is a subpar movie that wowed people with its effects. Let me ask you this. Do you think, and I mentioned this to you before, Logan, do you think that Avatar will blow minds again by doing the exact same thing, just doing it underwater and in the air more?
No, I don't think any movie really would or should blow minds again by doing the exact same thing. But I will say that I will absolutely go see it. And James Cameron is not the kind of individual who likes to repeat things for the sake of repeating things. He invents, he creates, he wants to push the envelope and see something different and use something that has never been used in a way that's never been done before to create whatever vision it is that he sees in his head. And his library of films has a fantastic track record of being able to do that. And I think in some ways there may be almost a bit of a disservice being done to his creativity and intelligence by shooting all four of them at the same time, because he doesn't have the time between movies to iterate that technology and come up with the next amazing James Cameron invention. So shooting them all at once, I think the second one will there will be something new and something different that he's done that will just make it above and beyond. But I'm almost concerned about if the story doesn't hold through the next four, how those advances won't be there. So will the three after number two be just doing them over again? And will that actually harm the entire franchise of sorts more than help?
Excellent point. I mean, how can you make these, leaps forward and narrative and production and value and bringing something new to the table if you're doing them all at the same time? That almost seems counterintuitive.
Exactly. And I mean, a decade's enough time to do it for one, but then you're stretching that one over four. And I mean, look, is he using even anything that The Mandalorian used with the volume or any of that kind of stuff to create things? And if so, that's also not new. So yeah, I'm concerned about actually the quadruple back-to-back shooting more than I am, will he wow us again?
And isn't that a little conceited? I'm going to do 4 movies.
Yeah, to outdo Lord of the Rings, I guess.
Yeah,
do 3 in a row.
Yeah,
there is that, yeah.
But to be fair, Lord of the Rings is an established story where they were basically shooting a legendary story that's been around. Speaking of which, let's segue, because I love this, but I want to tie it into another one. Yeah, so the thing we come away with is Avatar's trash, but it'll make a lot of money.